Taxes, do you think they're too high or do you think they're fair? Cost of living, is that a big issue right now in Canada? When it comes to voting, do you always vote, sometimes vote, or never vote? Where would you place your trust in mainstream media right now in Canada?
Well, it's hard for me to say, actually.
When it comes to voting, do you always vote, sometimes vote, or never vote?
I always vote. It's really important to vote because it doesn't matter if you understand or not. You have to go with the one that most likely fits your political opinions. Even though you don't know much, just read the pamphlets. That'll give you an opinion, but it's important.
Always vote. It's your right to exercise, and there are places in the world that you don't have that right. And so I would say absolutely exercise your your right to vote.
And I think now, more than ever, it matters.
I do my best to vote, especially if I'm disposed at the time, if I'm not out of the country. I do my best to vote.
Always vote, yeah, always.
I always vote. If I can, I will always do it.
I personally always vote. I think especially when it comes to local stuff where it really impacts you, I think that's where you see, most of the difference, but, on the greater scale, you have to do your part there as well.
Taxes, do you think they're too high or do you think they're fair?
It's getting higher though. In 2016 it was not much, but right now it's a little bit more though. But if they bring back the old times, like in 2016, it'd be a little less. When I came in Canada, that'd be great.
They are too high. Yeah, absolutely. Any of the parties that have a policy to reduce taxes, I think that will play a major key in my decision on who I vote for. Because right now, I think a lot of Canadians, their pockets are hurting. I feel like we're overtaxed. I feel like it should be reduced if possible. So I definitely rooting for tax reduction.
Where would you rate your trust in mainstream media to get truth out to Canadians?
I think for me, right now, I'm looking at all sources of media. I'm trying to look at the political spectrum, see where all the different media outlets lie, and then look at all of them. That way I can kind of piece together my own picture.
Where would you rate your trust, 0 to 10, in mainstream media?
I'd say 5.
I check on Facebook. At the end, the post about what everyone is doing. I look at this, but I think I'm gonna give 7 out of 10. I try to stay neutral because I know some media have an orientation. So usually on social media, that's where I really get information for any kind of elections or party or whatever.
How do you know who to vote for?
It depends on the promises that they make, and it also depends on their past and all that stuff, but most of the time the promises that they make, they're fake.
So I actually take a look at all of the party platforms. My grandfather voted for one party for his entire life. He told us that we should vote for that same party. I don't think that's the way to do it. I think that the best way to vote is to be educated first, figure out which party actually best represents me and my opinions and what I need for my family, and then go out and vote for that party. I think meeting a candidate is a good idea, but unfortunately just in this kind of day and age, I just don't have time to go and do that anymore.
Well, based on their policies, and the manifesto that they are rolling out, I've listened to a lot of them. And for me, whoever has the most people-oriented policy gets my vote.
When it comes to mainstream media, where would you rate your trust in mainstream media to get good information out to the citizens?
So it really depends. I try to avoid major news outlets. Personally, I use Reuters, a non-biased source, and I try to kind of find other sources once in a while. Okay, maybe I read a conservative side, maybe I read a liberal side, and kind of see which each side is taking, and then form my own opinion based off that.
Well, it's hard for me to say, actually. For me, I do fact finding and fact checking. So I don't totally depend on the mainstream media for all my information. I get bits and pieces from there. It adds up to my overall opinion, but I don't just rely totally on it. So I wouldn't discredit what they're doing, but I do also fact check and do my own research just to make an informed decision or opinion.
Cost of living, is that a big issue right now in Canada?
It's a big issue. Cost of living is a big issue. So I feel like any party that's going to be reducing taxes and helping people increase the quality of living and the cost of living, reducing it, that would help people to be able to afford more things, right? So, yeah.
Got it. Sean, thank you so much, man.